This is Jermaine reporting for the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. I'm joined alongside Chris Arreola. How are you doing, mate? How you doing, mate?
Great, man. I just got done with the press conference. Got a little taste of what Andy looks like right now, and I'm excited for this fight, man.
Yeah, as you said, obviously you'll be fighting Andy Ruiz Jr. on Saturday night. It's on pay-per-view. Let's talk a bit about it. Obviously, how's training camp been going into this fight?
You know, we started training camp in January, man. But I've been coming to see Joe 3 times a week starting November. So in November, we were coming 3 times a week, December 3 times a week. Then January till now, we've been training every day but Sundays. So I'm more than ready for this fight. I'm in great shape. I'm in great boxing shape, which is more important than just being in great shape because, you know, you could run a marathon, but that doesn't mean you could go 12 rounds in a boxing gym.
Yeah, obviously you've been training hard. Andy's been training hard. Obviously, he looks in fantastic shape going into this fight. Obviously, than when he last fought. I want to ask you. Obviously, you had an interview I saw recently, and you said that this is a big fight for you in terms of your legacy, and pretty much maybe you can have another crack at becoming the world champion again. Is that one of the goals for you? Is coming through this fight and potentially going on to fight for a world title?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is one of the fights that will definitely prepare me for a title shot, and if not, to a bigger fight. You know, another big fight because there's no bigger than this. You know, this is a big fight for the Mexican community, for the Hispanic community, for the boxing community. Period. Because who doesn't like to see 2 Mexicans going at it and beating the crap out of each other? So I'm very excited for this fight, and you know, first things first, let's take care of business here, and then we'll talk about some title shots or some big fights up the road.
Yeah, so obviously, let's talk a bit about obviously you and Andy. Obviously, you used to spar together. Obviously, he's the first heavyweight Mexican world champion. You talked about this. You said that one day you two would meet in the ring. Did you ever think you would meet in the ring of him being the first Mexican heavyweight champion?
No, I didn't pursue that. I didn't see that in the future. I always thought that I was going to be the first Mexican heavyweight champion. I thought I was going to be the guy, and it didn't happen. And you know, no hate, but you know, Andy made it happen. All respect goes out to him. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He took advantage of the situation, and I personally thought that Joshua probably overlooked him as a fat boy, you know. And honestly, you know, that fat boy was dangerous. That fat kid was the man that knocked out Joshua, and Joshua had to change his whole game plan because of the first fight.
Yeah, I mean, no one saw that coming. No one whatsoever saw that night coming. Obviously, well, you know Andy pretty well. People in the boxing world that didn't know Andy very well would have thought, especially in the UK, everybody thought Joshua would go into that fight and win that fight quite easily. But Andy was a terrific fighter. Obviously, very good amateur background as well, and he showed why he's the first Mexican world heavyweight champion by getting rid of Andy Joshua. Obviously, in the rematch, it didn't go his way. Can you see Andy? He's looking in great shape now. Could you see him maybe one day going on to fight for more world titles?
You know, one day, but first he has to go through me, and he's gonna have a hard time come Saturday, May 1st. Because trust me, I want to be a champion. Also, I want to be I'm in the boxing game to be a world champion. I'm not in the boxing game to collect checks. The checks are nice, but you know, I like notoriety. I like being known when I walk places. You know, it's pretty good to get a free cheeseburger when you go in the restaurant just because somebody recognizes you. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, so at the end of the day, you know, I'm a legacy fight kind of guy, and this should be a great fight.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. Obviously, the stars. People would say this is a 50-50 fight. Obviously, he's been out of the ring for a while. You haven't boxed since your last fantastic fight against Adam Kownacki. People will say this is a 50-50 fight. Would you agree?
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, even if they want to say 60-40 or 70-30, you know, people are entitled to the opinion. The main thing I know, it's going to be a great fight. I know that it's going to be one of those rock'em sock'em robots kind of fight. It's going to be one of those fights that people are going to talk about for years to come. So if you want to say a 50-50 fight, yeah, Yeah, 50-50 sounds about fair, but don't say I'm a 10-1 underdog, because that'll just add more fuel to my fire.
Yeah, 100%. I want to ask you, what do you do different to any of Andy's last opponents?
Well, one of the main things that I do have is a lot of heart. I have a lot of balls, man. If I go down, I'm gonna get back up. If I get punched, you're gonna get a punch right back. I had also been boxing for such a long time. I had the great experience. I fought with the people like Vitaly Klitschko, Wilder, Stiverne, Thomas Adamick. I fought some greats in my career, and I learned a little something from everyone. And one of the main things that I learned from this fight has to be when I fought Stiverne. Stiverne by far has one of the fastest um, off the draw. He's fast. Gunslinger type of shit. He may not have the fastest hands as Andy does, but he has some fast hands. So one thing that I learned from that fight is to bring my hands back, move my head, and be more defensive minded in the ring. I don't think this is going to be a fight like Adam Kownacki that we're going to be throwing 100 punches around, because this is a much dangerous fighter than Adam Kownacki.
100%. Obviously, that was a fantastic fight. Obviously, you broke a Compubox records for most punches thrown and most punches landed in that fight. How much did you want to put How much do you want to put entertainment for the fans on Saturday night? How much do you want to bring entertainment for them?
I always want to entertain the fans, because the way I feel, they spend their hard-earned money to watch me fight either live or on pay-per-view, and I have to give them a fan-friendly fight. But at the end of the day, I got to stay in mind. I got to understand that I have to be defensive. I got to understand that, yes, offense is a good defense, but at the end of the day, I got to bring my hands back. And if I have to box him, I will box him.
Yeah. Brilliant. Obviously, you mentioned the lots of Wilder, lots of Klitschko, Stiverne. You've been there with some great champions. Do you think, obviously, having that experience is going to be very important going into this fight, having more experience than he does going into this fight?
The experience doesn't matter if you don't carry it into the gym or into the ring. I've learned a lot from my past mistakes, and one of the main things that I didn't do as much as I do now is work. I work hard. I work hard in the gym, because I know there's no shortcut for hard work. And come Saturday, I have to put everything into it. I have to put everything that I've learned in my past fights, in my past experiences, a la Klitschko, a la Wilder, and Stiverne. I gotta use everything that I learned from every fight. And that's the way that I had to come out. That's the way that I will come out with the win.
Brilliant. Obviously, you and Andy are fighting. Two Mexicans are fighting this weekend. Another great Mexican's fighting next weekend in a unification fight. This is Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders. I want to ask you, how do you see this fight going? Obviously, a lot of people are giving Canelo saying he's a favorite to win this fight. But how do you rate Billy Joe Saunders' chances?
Yeah, he is a favorite to win this fight, but they always say, every dog has his day. It could be Saunders' day, because it looks like he's been working hard, and he's a good boxer. The best way he has the shot to beating Canelo is to give him a boxing lesson, to try to stick in the outside and stick him with that jab, and now don't get hit by the bombs that Canelo has on both hands, because both hands they can put you to sleep. So that being said, I'm taking Saunders for the upset on this fight.
You're going for an upset?
Yeah, I'm taking the upset. Wow. I love an upset. I always love an upset. And to be honest with you, seems like Saunders has a little salty taste in his mouth, because even his own promoters promoting Canelo. They're putting Canelo up there ahead of Saunders. I'm like, whoa. That's kind of messed up, man, especially for being your own promoter. But that being said, it calls for a great fight. It calls for a salty man that wants to get his get back.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously Billy Joe Saunders and Tyson Fury are training together out in Vegas, and they've done a video directing a criticism at Eddie Hearn for pretty much promoting Canelo instead of his own fighter, Billy Joe Saunders. and they're quite irritated by that. So it's going to add a bit more fire to the fuel.
Yeah, it adds a lot more fire to the fuel. You know, like this weekend, they've been pushing Andy a lot, but the difference is that I don't get disrespected by that because he deserves it. You know, Andy does deserve everything that he gets. He does deserve all the praises for him losing weight, the praises for him working hard, the praises for him switching teams. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm just as good as a fighter, if not better. And I will show it this Saturday how much of a great fighter I am.
Yeah, we can't wait for this fight. I want to ask you about another fight, or potentially going to be happening, another heavyweight fight, undisputed British title fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, which is pretty close. I want to ask you for your predictions in that fight and who wins and why.
You know, I'm picking Fury, and the reason I pick Fury because I feel he has more dog in him, meaning that he has more heart, that he has more willingness to win a fight. That if he goes down, he's gonna get back up and give it his all to win the fight. Personally, I just think that Joshua's just one of those stereotypical bodybuilding, great body, great this, great that. But you know, when the chips are down, we're gonna see who's willing to take more punishment. And I think that the Gypsy King is one of those guys that you gotta deal with in your sleep because he's gonna keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fantastic fight. Obviously, a fight that all British boxing fans have been waiting for a long, long time now, and hopefully it gets over the line. I'm sure it's going to be a great fight, and I'm going to sit on the fence of this. I'm not going to say who I think is going to win, but I'm definitely looking forward to this fight.
Whoa. You're going to make me say who's going to win. Come on, man. Who do you think is going to win?
I can't say, Chap.
What is your opinion of the fight? How do you think it will go?
I can either see it being a decision or a knockout. Like I said, I mean, Fury. Who thought Fury would have knocked out Wilder in the last fight? I couldn't see that coming. I mean, the way he knocked him out as well in fantastic fashion. He's shown that he's got a bit more punching power now. He's working with Sugar Hill. But Joshua showed that his last fight against Pulev that he can also box well, and against Andy Ruiz in a rematch. So I don't know. It's for me, that's a 50-50 fight. If I'm honest, that is a 50-50 fight.
I agree. I'll agree with you also. You know, because Joshua is a great fighter. Let's remember he's an Olympian, decorated fighter. So I always put a lot of emphasis that a fighter period needs an amateur background. And what a better amateur background than getting a gold medal?
Yeah, 100%. There's not many people who win a gold medal and then go on to be a world champion as well. It's very, very rare that it does happen. So yeah, I mean, you got to give him credit for that. And like I said, it's going to be a great fight. It's a shame it's not going to be in the UK, which we all wanted at first. But hopefully the second fight, if we do have a second fight, will be in the UK. Yeah,
you know, the UK deserves that fight. The UK deserves to have it in their soccer stadium or something like that, man, because that'll bring all the fans. Not only bring all the fans, it's going to bring the people that are not even boxing fans into the arena. And it's going to be a good sell and a great fight.
100%. Would you maybe like to fight the winner of that fight? Obviously, if you was to come through this fight against Andy on a weekend, would you be aiming to go for the winner of one of these fighters?
Man, you give me $1 million, I'd fight my mom in my backyard if you ask me to. You know, honestly, man, I love what I do. I'm a lucky, fortunate man to be a big heavyweight. I'm fortunate that my dad made me a boxer. I'm a fortunate man, and I love what I do. And yeah, of course, I would love to fight one of those guys.
Yeah, like I said, obviously coming through against Andy, I'm sure is going to put you back up there in terms of the rankings as well, and put you up there with the big dogs in heavyweight division and potentially fight for another world title.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the goal, man. Like I said, you know, I'm in the boxing sport to be a world champion. I'm in the boxing sport to leave a legacy. So when I die one day, you know, they will say, "Hey, that guy Chris Arreola, he was a pretty good fighter, man."
I'm sure they will. I want to ask you a few more questions before I let you go, Chris. Another big undisputed fight is going to happen on the 22nd of May, involving Latin American, which is Jose Ramirez versus Scotland's Josh Taylor, undisputed titles over there in America. How do you see this fight going? Obviously, it's a fight that's been talked about for a long, long time. Now they're going to put all their belts on the line and get it on.
You know what? There's no better thing to be a unified champion. Period. You know, so these both gentlemen better put their work in, because you can't lay an egg. You can't lay an egg when it comes to one of those fights.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like it's a fight for me. Obviously, I talked about last year which fights I would like to see happen, and this was my number one fight. Was my number one pick, which was Ramirez versus Taylor. It's a fight which both fighters deserve, and I'm sure it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, you know, and Ramirez, him being the type of fighter that he is, he's gonna bring the fight. He's gonna bring the fight to Taylor, and Taylor better be ready for that kind of a fight, a dirty kind of fight. And I don't mean dirty that he's gonna hit him low. I mean dirty like he's gonna hit arms. He's gonna hit wherever he sees. He's gonna come and throw some punches. So it should be a great fight for not only for the fans but also for the pay-per-views or whatever they go through.
Yeah, 100%. If it's anything like your fight with Kownacki, I'm sure it's gonna be a great fight. But that was an absolute fantastic fight. I remember staying up watching that fight, and it was an absolute brilliant slugfest. It was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. And you know what? I won that fight in the gym because I worked very hard for that fight. And I worked 3 times harder for this fight. So I'm looking to give that kind of a performance, if not better performance. And especially I want to get my hand raised at the end of the fight.
Brilliant, brilliant. Chris, before I let you go, a quick message for your fans for going into Saturday night, and a message for Andy himself heading into this fight on Saturday night.
You know, for the fans, man, you are going to be treated into a great boxing slugfest, a great night of boxing by 2 Mexican heavyweights that want. They're going to give it their all. So, and Andy, I know you're ready. Let's give these fans what they want. Let's give these fans what they are going to pay to see. So, let's make this fight a great fight. Let's make it a memorable fight.
I'm sure you guys will. Chris, absolute pleasure taking the time to speak with me today. I wish you nothing but the best going into this fight on Saturday, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. Respect.
Thank you. God bless. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.